Welcome to A Moment of Zen. Time to sit back and relax as model, actress, mentor, and supermom Zen Sams takes you on a sexy and wild ride, covering the latest in film, fashion, pop culture, cryptocurrency, fintech, cannabis, and entertainment from the millennial mom's perspective. Here's your host, Zen Sams.
Hello, beautiful tri-state area. Welcome to our 100th episode. 2 years on the air and going strong. It's always such a pleasure to spend my time with you on the airwaves. Thank you for listening and interacting with me on social media. That truly does make it all worthwhile. Please make sure to follow me at Zen Sams. That's Zen with an X, not a Z. And remember that we're now live on Traverse TV Sundays at 1 p.m. Eastern. We're on FinTech TV Wednesdays from 7 to 8 p.m. Eastern. And of course, all episodes of A Moment of Zen are now streaming 24/7 on Kathy Ireland's Your Home TV. And of course, you can always find us on our YouTube channel. This is totally free programming to you. We have such a great show lined up for you today. Very exciting stuff. In our entertainment and pop culture segment brought to you by OGPay.com, we're joined by 4 celebrity Hollywood dads sharing their fatherhood experiences and advice, speaking about what being a parent means, from what it is to funny memories to balancing out their Hollywood game. Today, we're joined by actor Frank Grillo, probably best known for playing Crossbones in Captain America. He was also in Avengers Endgame and in What If. Now, if you're not a Disney fan, you probably saw him on Billions. We also have Paul Ben-Victor, actor, joining us today, best known for playing a Greek mobster Spiros Vondoplloulos on the HBO's The Wire. Recently, though, you may have seen him in The Irishmen, or currently he's in The Plane with Gerard Butler. He's also going to be chatting today with Brad Feinstein, CEO of Romulus Entertainment. He's going to be joining us. Best known for producing The Banker with Sam Jackson and Anthony Mackie. He produced Halle Berry's directorial debut called Bruised. He executive produced On Fences with Denzel Washington. But most important of all, he is my husband. We're going to be joined by superstar Eif Rivera, who's going to be joining the conversation. Eif is a Bronx Walk of Fame 2022 inductee, famous for directing ultra-rich music videos for some of the world's biggest artists, from Cardi B to 50 Cent to French Montana, to now directing TV series Black Mafia Family and Power Book 3 for Starz. In our Millennial Mom segment brought to you by Navi Travel, we're chatting with the amazing Carmelia Ray, celebrity matchmaker and life coach. And today on our 100th episode, we're going to be chatting about the recent headliner in the New York Times, I love you, but I don't want to sleep with you. We're going to get her perspective on if it's okay for couples to sleep apart, and she'll give us some great tips on where you should be having sex with your partner. In our Hello Open Metaverse segment brought to you by Animoca Brands, this week we're featuring Tal Navarro. She is the founder and CEO of sociallady.com. She's also the founder of a nonprofit called winweb3.io. She's all about female empowerment. Today, she joins me to chat Women's Web 3 Revolution, demystifying stigmas, and how the blockchain can help solve real-world issues. Stay tuned for our entertainment and pop culture segment coming up right now, featuring actors Frank Grillo and Paul Ben-Victor, along with Hollywood director Eif Rivera and producer Brad Feinstein. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeart Radio. Don't move a muscle. We'll be right back after this.
A Moment of Zen is brought to you by Caldwell Soames Incorporated, investing globally in transformative businesses like Original Digital Corporation, or ODC. ODC develops advanced consumer and commercial fintech solutions such as OGPay, which will transform the way you manage your money. From sending and receiving money globally for free, paying for goods and services in person and online, pay bills, buy and sell digital currencies, all while earning interest. OGPay is easy to set up, FDIC insured, and your information is secured. Check out OGPay.com.
Welcome back, beautiful tri-state area. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeart Radio. I'm your host, Zen Sams. Up in just a few moments in our entertainment and pop culture segment brought to you by OGPay.com, we're joined by 4 celebrity dads sharing their fatherhood experiences and some great advice. Now, some celebrity parents are extremely strict and known for limiting technology or focusing on disciplining their kids. Others choose a more laid-back approach. Some spoil their children with expensive gifts and lavish vacations, while others give their kids the freedom to find their own paths in life. They're actors, directors, producers, and big-time stars. But to their kids, they're plain old dad. Celebrity dads often get a bad rap for being absent or disinterested in their kids' lives, but there are plenty of famous fathers who are actively involved and present in upbringing their kiddos. Parenting might not be the easiest thing, but these celebrity daddas seem to have been able to handle it quite well so far. I've rounded up 4 famous fathers to speak about being a parent, from what it means to them to funny memories to balancing out their Hollywood game. Today, we're joined by actor Frank Grillo, probably best known for playing Crossbones in Captain America, The Winter Soldier. He was also in Avengers Endgame and What If. Now, if you're not a Disney fan, you've probably seen him on Billions. We also have actor Paul Ben-Victor joining us today, best known for playing Greek mobster Spiros Vondoplloulos on HBO's The Wire. Recently, you may have seen him in The Irishmen, or currently, he's in The Plane with Gerard Butler and also in Emancipation with Will Smith. We're also chatting today with Brad Feinstein, CEO of Romulus Entertainment, best known for producing The Banker with Sam Jackson and Anthony Mackie, Halle Berry's directorial debut, Bruised, Margot Robbie's Dreamland. He also executive produced on Fences with Denzel Washington and on Tin Soldier with Jamie Foxx, that's out this summer. Lastly, his biggest accomplishment of all, marrying me. Brad is joined by superstar director Eif Rivera, a Bronx Walk of Fame 2022 inductee, famous for directing ultra-rich music videos for some of the world's biggest artists, from Cardi B to 50 Cent to French Montana, to now directing TV series Black Mafia Family and Power Book 3 for Starz. Impressive lineup, I would say. Welcoming now to the show are my Hollywood dads. Thanks for coming on, gentlemen.
Hi.
Eif, nice to have you on.
How are you?
Paul, thank you for joining us again.
It's great to be here. Great to be here.
Brad, thank you for coming on. I really appreciate it. I know you're a busy guy. All right, let's dive right into it. Frank, I'm going to start with you. Your boys are pretty much all grown up at 15, 18, and 20 something, but they still very much need you. Has your relationship with them always been healthy? What is the hardest part of being a celebrity dad? And do your kids want to follow in your footsteps?
We've always had a great relationship. I got divorced from my wife of 20 years 3 years ago, but we remained co-parents in the best of ways. And I have a great relationship with my sons. They're with me half the time. My big guy lives with me all the time. He just directed his first movie, which I was in, which comes out in March. So he's doing pretty well. And, I never kind of, the whole celebrity, I basically lived my life very quietly. And so they have a very normal upbringing. And so they're not, aside from my little guy who's a Marvel fanatic, it's all very normal, and by design. I don't expose them to, I'm not a big fan of Hollywood. I often say I'm in Hollywood, but not of Hollywood.
I love that. I love that because you have to actually keep it separate. And I'm going to segue with that to Eif. Eif, he's in Hollywood, but he's actually not Hollywood. So Eif, you've always been surrounded by huge music acts. You've worked your way from the bottom to the top, from music videos to feature films. Does your son acknowledge your success? How do you balance fatherhood, him being a teenager in your career? You have a lot going on.
Yeah, I think to Frank's point, I don't put him in that light. Like, he doesn't understand exactly what I do. And I think he's very surprised sometimes when he sees my name come up on a TV show. It's like I literally have to point it out to him, right? But he's just in a world of his own, you know what I mean, and going to school and just being a good kid. And I kind of just, harness that and just make sure that, he just remains a good kid, right? And just studies hard. So
I love that. And then
yeah.
do you have an ongoing relationship with him where he shows some kind of interest in the arts? Do you inspire him in any capacity, or are you just letting him spread his wings?
No, well, there are times where we both sit down, and he loves to draw as well. So, like, I'm an artist as well, so we sit, and that's how we have a lot of our time. So we'll just sit there and we'll just draw some stuff out, some of the stuff that he loves, right, like characters and stuff like that. To Frank's point, Marvel, like, he's a huge Marvel fan, so we talk a lot about that. But as far as like Hollywood and stuff, I don't think he has interest in it as of yet. I'm hoping that hopefully this summer I get him into something and just kind of let him see what it is, and hopefully he sees something that he likes. within the culture of Hollywood.
I love it. So there's a theme going on. You shield him from the Hollywood game and just kind of keep it real and homey. I love that. Paul, we'll shift to you. Tardy to the game, my friend, but better late than never. Congratulations. You now have a 15-month-old Arabella. She's adorable. She's beautiful. But you did express to me that kids were never in part of your plan. And now you have this beautiful baby girl. How has this changed your perspective on life? And did everything just get 10 times harder?
10 times harder. It just shifted. Definitely was not what I was thinking of doing as the middle-aged man that I am. I like to say middle-aged, I don't know what's old or not, but no, I was not thinking about getting up at 6:30 and changing poopy diapers and like that at my age and chasing a little kid up and down. But it's a new life. I had a very long, young life being a single guy for almost forever. And now I found a terrific young gal. And, I just have to suck it up when people say, "Oh, grandpa." And I go, yeah.
Oh, no.
Like that. I get that once in a while. Not a lot, but is that your grand? Once in a while.
Oh, boy. Well, you know what? Just keep your head up there. To you, she's dad.
She's amazing and beautiful, and really, really brainy and beautiful. Yeah, she's a treat. We got lucky.
God bless.
Because you hear
God bless her and you.
Thank you. Yes.
Brad, we're going to shift to you. So we have kids together ranging from age 7 to almost 21. And although I have helped raise them all, what is the most challenging part of being an active father and a very, very active film producer? How do you balance set life and fatherhood?
I mean, the one thing that I've always made sure I did was no matter what my time was with my kids, my 2 older kids who I don't, share with you other than as a step parent, when I had visitations with them, no matter where I was in the world, I always got on a plane and flew home. And whatever that cost, whatever that was, but I never missed any time with my kids to make sure I kept my relationship with them. And being on the road, 300 days a year, I know Frank's on the road a lot too. And it's very, very hard to do, but you have to make it a priority and you have to make your kids the most important thing in your planning. So I always plan around that. Whereas our little one that we share, she's been on set with us all over the world. She's been to almost every state in the country. She's been to multiple countries. She's always on set. She's grown up around set. She'll step on set and try to call action, sit in the director's chair. She knows her way around a movie set. Whereas my older kids probably were not as exposed to the life of film. Alexa's been in 2 movies now as an actress. But what's interesting is my older kids are both showing interest in the business. My older daughter's in film school, and my son, who's 17, almost 18, is really interested in maybe going into the business. So I think that they do sort of get some of it by osmosis, by connecting, by being there, being around, watching films with you, spending time together. So I think that there is sort of an interest. I mean, in the old days, if your father was a cobbler, you became a cobbler. If your father was, a salesman, you became a salesman. So it's not surprising that, the kids are interested in the business.
I love it. Yeah, and you definitely instill the arts in every moment you get with them by taking them to really interesting premieres, by exposing them to the culture, by bringing them on film sets, by showing them all kinds of different movies and exposing them to different producers, directors. They meet tons of characters and they can draw their own conclusions on which direction they want to go and if they want to be in front or behind the camera. So I definitely commend you for that. You navigate that very well without putting pressure on them to have to enter the industry. And that's one thing I've always noticed. All right, Frank, this question is for you. As a dad, what keeps you up at night and what advice do you have for fathers who are too busy prioritizing their children, telling themselves, they don't need me all the time, they have mom?
I'll tell you what keeps me up at night is, I'm divorced. My children live in the Palisades half the time, and I'm in Hollywood, which is quite a distance away. I worry about when they're not in my periphery. And I also have a son who's on the spectrum. And he's great, but I often lay up at night wondering, which is a very slippery slope, wondering about what his future is going to be. So I'm concerned about, the emotional health of this kid and making sure he gets all the things that he can get. So my ex-wife and I are really on top of kind of managing his life so that he has a healthy, successful life. So that's a big part of it as a parent. People think, oh, I'm going to have kids, it's all going to be easy. And then you have a kid who's not typical, and you've got to work hard and become the CEO of his corporation and make sure he has a successful life. And I say this to parents who say, even if they have to think about prioritizing your children, you're thinking the wrong way. I don't care what you do. I don't care if you're president of the United States, your kids are your priority. And, I grew up with parents who were my father, immigrant parents and from Italy and had no money, had me very young. And they didn't prioritize us because they couldn't. And, it led to a lot of problems. And that, I did a lot of searching and therapy to kind of work through all that stuff. So you must prioritize your kids. I don't care how young or how old you are, how busy you are. Everybody's busy these days. So you got to prioritize your health and training and making sure you stay physically and emotionally fit. You got to take care of your children first.
Thank you so much for that transparency. That was extremely, extremely helpful, not just for me to listen to, but I think for a lot of people in your situation who think that everything that glitters is gold and people judge a book by its cover, and we know how that goes. I'm going to segue into another question here, but I do want to circle back on, of course, being cognizant of social activism and disability awareness. We have to be completely aware of all of that, whether it's somebody on the spectrum, whether it's, Down syndrome, whether it's San Filippo. I mean, these are very real issues that parents deal with every day. Paul, Arabella, okay, with a new baby comes more responsibilities. What is your current pressure? She's 15 months old.
A lot of it is just worrying when I'm on the road. When I have to leave, I got to sort of get the place set up. I mean, she's our first, she's Callie's first as well. So we're just learning the ropes. And Callie, sadly, doesn't have her folks with us anymore. So we're duking it out, on our own. But, to Frank's point, I kiss the ground and, kiss up to God and that she's healthy. And, you think about those things every day. This kid come up with that, this kid's having trouble with that. And we're just, crossing our fingers that she's, that she stays healthy. Health is the most important thing. Healthy education, everything else is second. But, that's something to worry about. But, right now we're in a very joyful place. So we're really her as much as possible. She's incredibly entertaining. So she's a riot. She's a laugh a minute, So
Good. Well, there's definitely the theme of good health is extremely important. That's what every parent wants for their kid. It's going to lay the foundation for everything to come. Without health, we truly have nothing. We're going to cut to a commercial break. We'll come right back. Don't move a muscle, my dear friends. We'll be right back after this. That was our entertainment and pop culture segment brought to you by ogpay.com. We're chatting with actor Frank Grillo and Paul Van Victor, CEO of Romulus Entertainment, Brad Feinstein, and director Eif Rivera. We'll be right back with more. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeart Radio. Don't move a muscle.
A Moment of Zen is brought to you by Caldwell Soames Incorporated, investing globally in transformative businesses like Original Digital Corporation, or ODC. ODC develops advanced consumer and commercial fintech solutions such as OG Pay, which will transform the way you manage your money. From sending and receiving money globally for free, paying for goods and services in person and online, pay bills, buy and sell digital currencies, all while earning interest. OG Pay is easy to set up, FDIC insured, and your information is secured. Check out ogpay.com.
Welcome back, beautiful tri-state area. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeart Radio. I'm your host, Zen Sams. Welcoming back to our segment, we are talking to our famous Hollywood dads, and we're coming back with a question for Eif Rivera, director Eif Rivera. So Eif, people are very quick to assume everything that glitters is gold. We just talked about it. People judge a book by its cover, but not all is typically what it seems. And fatherhood comes in many forms. lives. You have many responsibilities, including being a father figure to your brother as well. Tell me about him, and if you can demystify one stigma, what would it be?
Right. I mean, I think for the most part, people automatically assume because they either see you on TV or they see you working in Hollywood that your life is perfect, right? And as we clearly know, it's not true. We all have our individual stories that goes on within our families. For me, I have a brother who's born with Down syndrome, and he's lives with me. You know what I mean? I have to deal with that every day, just taking care of him, making sure that he's good. So, for me, like my dad passed away when I was 12 years old. So I know what it's like wishing you had someone there to just kind of, help you along this journey of life. Right. So for me, again, it's just like being a father it's, to my son. And I try to convey as much about life as much as I can. And also just be there for him. My biggest worries is just not being there for him. You know what I mean? And so I try to do everything that I can to again guide him and just be there for him and sort of protect him, and not have him. The one thing I'm grateful for is just not having him raised the way I was raised in the South Bronx, on welfare and just kind of fighting your way all the way to get to a point that you can breathe, so to speak, and make it out of there. So I'm proud of that, just to be able to have my son out of that element, and hopefully again just being raised the right way.
You're a good man, Eve. You're a good man. Not everybody would be doing what you're doing in your shoes, but family holds a lot of value to you, and so do traditions. And rewriting the narrative seems to be like what you're all about, truly. And I love that you're rewriting your family's narrative. Brad, balancing fatherhood with an ex-wife and setting a good example to the kids can be a daunting task for even the most civilized divorced people. Kids get weaponized and caught up in emotional messes all the time. What advice do you have for fathers out there currently contemplating divorce?
Um, that's a tough question. I mean, look, I think everyone's personal journey, if they choose to get divorced or stay together, I think the priority is making sure the kids are happy and they're seeing a stable, calm environment in the house, and love between the parents. And if they're not, then obviously the circumstances didn't change. But what other people do is really none of my business or concern. I can only deal with my situation and my kids, and always try to give them a loving environment.
But in general, divorce is not an easy task. People often think, oh, the grass is greener on the other side. They choose not to tough it out. So I always tell people to pause, listen, evaluate, and of course, put the kids first. It always comes down to the kids. That's the theme of this entire show. It's balancing out children, whether you're in a divorced family, whether you're coming from a divorced family, whether you're balancing out a child with a disability and blending that child in with a normal household. I mean, there's a lot going on. So yes, the theme is prioritizing children. I couldn't agree more. Frank, at what point do you close the bank of dad and tell the kids they need to start paving their own way? And and what are your thoughts on Hollywood nepo babies?
Never.
Um, Hollywood, what babies?
Nepo babies, nepotism.
Well, the bank of Frank never closes for the kids. Look, I grew up in the Bronx, again from family from Calabria, Italy, with no money, and it was miserable. And I've been fortunate in my life to have money, and so my kids have money. Now, I teach them how to respect the money, and that it's daddy who's carrying the bucket up the hill to get the water. So they understand that, but they live a good life. And it's by design so that they don't have the stresses that I had. And they could focus on education and their social health and all the good stuff that kids should do. I often say you're only as happy as your least happy child. And I have happy kids, and they're successful in what they're doing. Um, and so the bank stays open.
I love it. I love it. And I love your analogies. That's the Calabria in you that comes up with these analogies. Jack and Jill went up the hill. This time it's Frank catching the pail of water. My grandparents would say the same thing. That was a great answer. The bank stays open. Good. With boundaries. So, Paul, let's shift to you. Fatherhood is going to test you at every age, I promise. But children bring on a type of joy that's profound and very meaningful. Your relationship with her mom is just as important as your relationship with her. What did your pregnancy experience teach you about women that you never knew?
About women that I never knew? Well, right away I flashed to the birth. I'm sorry. Wow. I was just telling
Women are much tougher than men.
Oh my God. I mean, it was not easy. I don't know if Kelly, I'm not going to go into crazy detail, but there was, I don't know what your doctor did, but they bring in like a village. I thought I was in some crazy country. They were chanting, Sinai, they're chanting, oh, 1, 2, counting in different languages. I thought I didn't know where I was. And it was rough. It was rough, and it was messy, and she's great now. But wow.
Well, your answer said it all. I think you see women very differently now.
Oh my God, I have a whole new respect for Callie, but also her love, her connection with the baby mine's wonderful and beautiful and loving. I love it to death, but the two of them have a connection that I can't go near. When she wants mama, it's a beautiful thing. I mean, you could go on and on about women, and also her love for her in the middle of the night. Last night she was having a nightmare, and Callie just stayed up and petted her and made sure she was okay until she was okay. It took a half hour, and I'm sitting there. I gotta get up. I got a podcast in the morning. Get me, and I cared, but her feelings, it's like her. They're like one. So a mother-daughter relationship is very unique.
It's very unique. Yeah, definitely. Okay. Well, Eif, we're gonna move to you. I love that really made an impact on you, Paul. Thank you for your transparency. So, Eif, supporting your family, planning for the future, and properly investing your money, I know are very important to you. Your son is watching everything you do, whether you know it or not. How important is financial literacy to you, and should this be a top priority to teach our kids?
For me, it's very important, right? And to like Frank's point, like I came from nothing, right? So I feel like I'm the one leading the way to the money, right? Like to the bank. And so everything for me just very cautiously. And, early on, I learned about investing through my previous job, which I won't talk about that. But, I learned how to invest and get into stocks and all that stuff. So, I'm teaching my son that as well. And just very, very careful with how he spends his money, how I give him his money, right? He's 18 years old, just going to college. And, but it's almost like he still has this mindset of a young teenager, right? And so he doesn't understand the value of money. So I think in time, the more I teach him, he'll learn more on how to save and just try to create something, that's going to last for his family. You know what I mean? I'm sorry, what was the other question?
Oh, I was just, that's it. Should we be teaching financial literacy to our children? I mean, a lot of people just don't, especially people with money. A lot of people with money don't even cover investing with their kids because we're so busy doing it for ourselves that we think that we're going to invest for them. But I just feel like that's just a flip upside down solution to, having them pave their own financial independence.
Right.
All right. So we're almost at the end here. The last question is something for all of you, and we can have Brad answer it first, but it's the same question for all three of you. I just want different perspectives. So navigating Hollywood, staying relevant and afloat are tough stuff. I mean, Hollywood is very woke, very whiny, and very liberal. Cancel culture is especially real for men. One bad choice and you're done. How have you managed to remain relevant and out of bad press after decades of work? And what advice would you have for your younger self, Brad?
Don't make bad choices. If you don't act like an asshole, you're not going to have problems with people. If you're respectful with other people, you're not going to have problems in the Hollywood cancel culture of it all. be respectful with people, go about your business, focus on your family, go home at the end of the day.
Okay, I'll take that. Good answer. Frank, what about you?
Yeah, I mean, just to dovetail on that, it's, I'm 57 years old, so the whole woke culture and Me Too, and it's a bit overwhelming. I stay home. I don't. I'm not a good time Charlie. So I stay with my kids. I work hard. I try not to get involved with the politics of Hollywood. That's kind of it. I go to the gym. I go to work. I take care of my kids.
And advice for your younger self, what would that be?
Just shut your mouth. I used to be full of piss and vinegar, and I love being a nonconformist and challenging people. I grew up as a fighter, so I love a good fight, and doesn't serve me. So smile and wave, walk away.
Be Switzerland. There you go. Eif, what about you?
For me, I've always been just stay grounded and stay focused. You know what I mean? Grounded and focused, and just have respect for everyone else and the jobs that they have, right? Like they wouldn't be where you are if they suck. Well, you hope that's the case. But for me, it's always been about that. It's just kill all the noise around you, read as much as you can, study as much as you can. Really dig into the craft and understand what it is you want to do, and just have a goal, right? And again, just staying focused, and that's
staying focused.
Yeah.
Stay the path, stay the course. Paul, what about you? How have you survived for decades without being canceled, bad press, and what advice would you have to give to your younger self?
Well, glad you asked me last, because I got to listen to three really great, fulfilling, smart answers from these three guys, and I just did all of them. Mind your business, just be a good person, as Brad was saying. Don't be be a good person. And I, like Frank, when I was younger, I was combative with certain people I feel bad about, just not in terms of, I learned a little later, how I don't call this a job. It's how many of us can do this, right? Like 9,000 people are lining up to get one little, and we've made careers, all of us, out of this for decades. So I realize how lucky I am to do this now, and I try to stay grateful as much as you want to fight and get in for that next job or the next level up and all that. So just trying to stay really grateful for what we have, and to have come this far, and coming out clean is
coming out clean is so important. Well, the one theme that we have learned throughout this entire interview is that you all prioritize family and children first. You all stay the course, work very hard, don't insult anybody, are humble individuals, and are men of your word. And that's extremely important in Hollywood. I want to thank you all for coming on. It was very enlightening chatting with you. I loved hearing the perspectives. Typically, we don't have all men cover the first half an hour of our show, but as in the 100th anniversary, I definitely wanted to feature a different side, a different perspective from your usual millennial mom that listens to us, because this is just as important. Dads work just as hard as moms, and it's our job to make sure that we level the playing field for everybody involved. So thank you for coming on, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thanks for
having us.
That was our entertainment and pop culture segment, brought to you by OGPay.com. That was actors Frank Grillo and Paul Ben-Victor, CEO of Romulus Entertainment, Brad Feinstein, and director Eif Rivera. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeart Radio. We'll be right back after this.
A Moment of Zen is brought to you by Animoca Brands. As a worldwide industry leader in digital entertainment, blockchain, and digital property rights, Animoca Brands plays a key role in the future growth of the open metaverse. During unstable times like these in burgeoning industries similar to blockchain, it's important to realize that blockchain can and will survive and eventually flourish, and industry-leading companies like Animoca Brands will guide the transformation into the future. Animoca Brands will keep building a better and fairer Web3 ecosystem, Create impact for better and bring true digital property rights to all internet users through NFTs and the open metaverse. For more information and to become part of the excitement, go to anamokabrands.com. That's anamokabrands.com.
Welcome back, beautiful tri-state area. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeart Radio. I'm your host, Zen Sams. Up next in our Hello Open Metaverse segment, brought to you by Anamoka Brands. Today we're featuring Tal Navarro. Tal is a serial entrepreneur, advisor, speaker, and investor, and one of the leading marketing and Web3 experts in the world. She is the founder and CEO of sociallady.com and founder of the nonprofit winweb3.io. Today, she joins me to chat women's Web3 revolution, female empowerment, demystifying stigmas, and how the blockchain can help solve real-world issues. Now, Web3 is still disproportionately dominated by males, so women like Tal and myself are finding ways to support one another to make more equitable spaces for all. Now, where the previous tech space was defined by the tech bro culture, Web3 gives the opportunity to rebuild the digital world with diversity, equality, and inclusion. The new internet phenomenon has redesigned the World Wide Web into a democratic space, giving back control and ownership of data to the people from its decentralized properties. With the potential to eradicate systemic bias, a new wealth of opportunities surfaces for women in the new era of the internet. And here to break it all down for us is the amazing Tal Navarro. Welcome to the show, Stunner.
Hey, girl. So good to be here. So good to be here.
Thank you so
Good
much for coming
morning.
on. I know you're very busy. So let's jump right into this. Blockchain and cryptocurrency started as a new decentralized and inclusive way of financing, yet women, Tal, are underrepresented. There's a lack of support for female crypto funders and fewer opportunities for women looking to pursue a career in the industry. Now, I know that you strive to promote a more women-led environment by empowering more women to become Web3 founders and builders, thereby creating more opportunities for women in tech. How can we use Web3 to break gender biases and create a more equal world?
Web3 has created a lot of opportunities for a lot of people, and especially for women. I think that on the Web2 or in real life, we bumped too many times into so many male-dominated areas and so many exclusivity at places where women are not as much as supported as they should be. In Web3, you can do whatever you want. You have a freedom of speech. You can be whoever you want. No one looks at your gender. No one looks at your religious, your color, your language. It doesn't really matter. It's all about the art and it's all about what you are creating. Now, I think the more we're looking at the Web3 and we're diving into it, we can realize how many opportunities actually are there for inclusivity and opportunities for women. Because at the end of the day, a woman in different countries that I'm working with a lot of women from different countries, and I see a lot of women who are being kind of suppressed and not able to show their art in many places, or not able to create art or to finance themselves. And the blockchain and the Web3 enables them to actually have financial resources through the digital economy, which was not here before. And it is very, very exciting and very mind-blowing for me. So I am trying with what I do. I work with a lot of women on different aspects, also through the marketing and also through my nonprofit, through our agency. And also personally, I am volunteering in a lot of nonprofits and in a lot of organizations that's supporting women. I've been doing it for decades. Just to really bring women to the front and give them a voice, give them a face, give them a place to sit next to the table where usually they're not being seated. And
Now,
Web3 opens up these opportunities where they can, in real life, they are not able to do it. Now on the blockchain, they are.
well said. I totally echo what you're saying because I see a culture change coming, and Web3 offers, to your point, a huge opportunity to rewrite the rules. Web3 is an idea for a new version of the internet, really powered by blockchain, giving way more control over back to the people in web communities. And the industry needs more community building and collaboration, because collaboration is essential for crypto and for Web3 and for the metaverse to keep growing. Now,
100%.
Now, while the overall tech sector has repeatedly come under fire for its lack of gender diversity. The blockchain industry is trying to break out of that mold. And it might be too early to claim that equitable gender distribution has come to blockchain just yet, but there is a lot of work to be done. Now, CEOs of the largest metaverse platforms are mostly men, Tal, but with STEM becoming more accessible to females at a young age, the daunting landscape of the tech industry will hopefully change to become a more inclusive and inviting space. Now, you are a pioneer in the space. What steps have you taken at Social Lady to ensure inclusion in education? And talk to me about your project, Helping Women.
So, since forever, I've been working with diverse of human being. I wanted to have people from different places in the world, different languages, because every place in the world brings a different point of view, brings a different perspective. And especially, I've been working with women for so many years on Social Lady. My team is built of women. We do have men as well, because we don't want to be only women led, but as I said, I want to have a lot of perspectives and a lot of diversity in the company. But what we did is we basically shifted the whole Social Lady. We have into Web3. We do have a component for Web2 still. We are running what we do. We basically help businesses to thrive through the social media and the digital assets and digital area. But we also work with Web3. We work with projects. We work with companies. We work with people who are changing and creating disrupting art, disrupting to the space. I'm working with different companies that are creating a lot of changes through the blockchain, and those are the places where women can actually thrive and come up. Because at the end of the day, women are bringing something that men don't have, and the same is the opposite. But a lot of times, again, in the real life, they don't get any opportunity to come to the front. And in Social Lady, we are giving the women the opportunity to actually speak, to have their ideas. I am having special requests from my team for the women. Every week we have a kind of a meeting together. Everyone is brainstorming, bringing their point of views about the clients, about the environment, about whatever is happening in the space. And as well, we established WIN. So WIN is a nonprofit to support women in need through the blockchain. And WIN is 100% nonprofit. It's all the proceeds are going back to women. And we're working with women through the war zone, and also through going through a daily war, like poverty, sex trafficking, violence. And we are actually building a marketplace where women are actually able to create art and sell it through the marketplace and be able to finance themselves.
I love it. Now, hold on. Let me just go back, because
Yes.
I want to streamline this. So if you look
Yes.
at what you're doing, you're really kind of just propelling and empowering women here. Because if you look at the statistics, we have 26% of women make up just 26% of Web3 investors. Then you only have 2.3% of women-led startups received only 2.3% of venture capital funding in 2015.
And I have to tell you that in order to change this number, we need to act. And
yes,
everyone with communities, or everyone even without communities, I have big communities, right? I have a lot of followers in different platforms, but a lot of people don't have it. But still, every conversation, every content you create out there, every explanation, every education that you are bringing out to the mass, that's going to bring people on board. That's going to onboard more women. That's going to create more awareness and more conversation around women. So I encourage everyone who has communities or don't have communities, it doesn't matter, to try and educate what you know, and try to learn and understand how you can actually help women to take that step and simplify things for them and for everyone who wants to come on the space. Because it's all about education at the end of the day.
Yes, I believe that initiatives to increase female participation are extremely necessary, especially ones that are tailored to local communities of women in technology like yours, or hands-on digital asset classes. Thought leadership workshops and networking opportunities have also proven to be extremely crucial and effective catalysts. Now let's chat asset ownership, because that is the pathway out of poverty, in my opinion, Tal. There are 1.4 billion unbanked people in the world and have no no way to enter the traditional banking system. They can't get a loan, a credit card. They can't buy a car. Selling something on eBay is impossible. So this is taken for granted by most of us here in the developed world. Now, cryptocurrencies and NFTs change this paradigm. Now, these 1.4 billion people immediately have an opportunity to have a wallet, participate in digital marketplaces, to your point, create art, music, games, and get finance to run their business. This is truly revolutionary. We are definitely changing the world here. What elements are currently missing for Web3, the metaverse, and the blockchain to fully evolve, in your opinion?
I think that the main problem and the reason that there is not yet a mass adoption that comes into the space, it's mostly because of the complication of understanding the technical parts. I do think that, we have a lot of wallets, we have a lot of chains. People need to know how to create a smart contract, how to work with a blockchain, how to actually build their NFT or do all those things. It's not that simple for those who are not heavy on tech. And but I do think that it's just a matter of time that it's going to change. That today we're going to a computer, for example, and we press enter and we have a website pops up. We don't know what's happening behind this enter. We don't know what's happening behind the keyboard. We're just pressing a button and everything happens. And on the blockchain today, you have to be very aware and understand what exactly is that every chain. And there are so many differences. Like there's, the Solana, the Ethereum, now the Bitcoin NFTs are popping up. There's so many differences. There's so many changes all the time, constantly. And if you're not aware and you're not following up, you might get scammed, you might get hacked. There's so many things that are scaring people from actually take that move and go into that space. So at the end of the day, the more simple things are going to be with time. And I'm sure there's going to be, one wallet where you can actually pay with every cryptocurrency, like we have the Apple Pay today. People will not going to need a wallet anymore. They will not going to need and to understand all those differences between the wallets, the hot, the cold, the chains that are out there. And I think that simplicity is going to help very much to onboard people. Also, the fact that we're going to have more and more security systems in the space, because today there are a lot of hacks, a lot of scams, and people are actually afraid to dive into that world just because of that. A lot of people are getting scammed all the time, and that's the top news, right? That's the thing that people are talking about. And so if we will build, the more security we're going to create that space, and it's going to happen with time because we're just at the beginning of everything. And the more simple it's going to be for people to join this space and not, now complicate everything with so many wallets and chains and stuff like that.
Yes. We definitely need regulation to come into this industry. I'm going to cut to a commercial break.
Sure.
But yeah, regulation is key. Mass adoption is key. All of this transparency is key. We'll talk a little bit more when we come back. Guys, you definitely have to check out Tal Navarro. Head directly to her website. You have to check out everything they're doing at social-lady.com or winweb3.io. You can also follow Tal directly on the gram at Tal Navarro #1. That was our Hello Open Metaverse, brought to you by Animoca Brands. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeart Radio. Don't move a muscle. We'll be right back after this.
A Moment of Zen is brought to you by Animoca Brands. As a worldwide industry leader in digital entertainment, blockchain, and digital property rights, Animoca Brands plays a key role in the future growth of the open metaverse. During unstable times like these in burgeoning industries similar to blockchain, it's important to realize that blockchain can and will survive and eventually flourish, and industry-leading companies like Animoca Brands will guide the transformation into the future. Animoca Brands will keep building a better and fairer Web3 ecosystem, create impact for better, and bring true digital property rights to all internet users through NFTs and the open metaverse. For more information and to become part of the excitement, go to animocabrands.com. That's animocabrands.com.
Welcome back, my beautiful tri-state area. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeart Radio. I'm your host, Zen Sams. Welcoming back to our Hello Open Metaverse segment by Animoca Brands. We're chatting with the amazing Tal Navarro, founder of sociallady.com. Welcome back, my friend.
Hey, good to be here, beautiful.
Okay, so now let's chat. Let's chat authenticity, transparency, and regulation. So, while the Web3 pillars of transparency, accessibility, and equality have been applied across many metaverse projects, we just talked about this, the foundation of these projects appear to be disproportionately built by men again. And in the past 5 years, metaverse companies led by men received a higher share of total entrepreneurial funding than metaverse companies led by women. That's 90% versus 10%. So men received $107 billion in funding compared to women, Tal, who received $5 billion in funding.
wow.
Now, the findings are based on the data of 4,200 founders. Now, the metaverse has many different formats to create immersive experiences, whether it be augmented reality, virtual reality, 3D graphics, that's just to name a few. But statistics aside, do you feel that companies have a clear value creation case for joining the metaverse as opposed to just using it because it's cool, different, or new? And if these companies are to onboard into the metaverse, should they truly be looking at the gender bias statistics that I just named if they are going to be creating this inclusive world?
First of all, 100%. There is going to be an amazing upgrade for every company who is going to join the Web3 for so many reasons that we already mentioned, and for so many reasons that we are going to mention right now, which one of them is, transparency, as we said. It's something that you cannot find anywhere else. And there's something that you cannot build on any other platform. When you work with Web3 and when you work with the blockchain, it's where everyone can actually get to know each other. They can see about each other. You have transparency and you have the dataship owner, the ownership of the data. I'm sorry. And at the end of the day, it is one of the most crucial things that we don't have as of today. So, for example, a lot of companies have turned into Web3, such as Nike and Adidas and Disney and Starbucks, and they're creating a massive opportunity for a lot of people to be able to benefit from what they are offering in a much upscaled way. When you're doing, for example, you can have a membership in Starbucks, just for an example for something that happened. Starbucks enabled people to create a membership with them, collecting points and getting all kind of benefits by being part of their membership club on the Web3, on the blockchain. And what happens here is that right now everything is transparent on the blockchain. People can actually follow up what their friends are doing, what they are doing, how many points they're getting, and they are able to actually scale up and enjoy those benefits in a very new and different way. And this is just one example. There are a lot of examples for companies and brands who have joined the Web3 space. And I do think that it is very important for, when you're asking about exclusivity and gender equality and everything, this is important for every company and every brand on every aspect. So of course it is important on Web3 as well. But I do think that the more we're going to see companies who are coming into the space, the more we're going to see people who are bringing their clients and their, fan base and their communities, and this space is going to grow. And that's what happens those days, even though we know there are a lot of maybe negativity around the Web3 and a lot of conversations about hacking and things like that. At the end of the day, there are so many companies who are joining as we speak to this space. Fox just joined collaboration with MoonPay. There's so many things that are happening behind the scenes, and that's going to bring the mass adoption. And I think that that's going to create a lot of equality and a lot of inclusivity in the space, because Web3 is enabling to do so.
Well said. It's true. I mean, IKEA, to your point, uses 3D visualization and computer generated objects, or what we call CGI, to help plan layouts for furniture in your home. And another example, there are fashion brands that are going to show you their fashion in the metaverse, and then you can buy it in the store. So if there's what we call a clear value creation case for a company to join the metaverse, they should absolutely do so. I mean, you need to have a pretty clear sense of what you're trying to achieve by using this, without a doubt. You can't just say, I want to be in the metaverse. But a lot of CFOs will then have to challenge to trying to figure out how much money to allocate to building out metaverse projects, because that's the next phase of where we're going to, if we're going to integrate these brands to be able to interact with consumers, not just in the metaverse, but in actual reality. So it's all going to work hand in glove. I'm very excited about this. Now we have about a minute left. We talked a little bit about Social Lady. Talk to me about WinWeb3.io. So I know that this is a social activism project. You could give every woman and every girl the opportunity to basically finance herself and her family to achieve her dreams and build her future. Everyone can donate. Talk to me about this.
So WinWeb3 was born when my second son was born, and my passion to help as much as I can to other women around the world. And Web3 has opened up this opportunity for me, at least, to build this thing. So WinWeb3 helps in supporting women through the blockchain on war zone and in daily war, as I said before, like sex trafficking, violence, poverty, women who have no access to bank accounts and no access. Like you said, there are so many people with no access to bank accounts. So we are working with charities, and charities are creating art. The women in the charities are creating art. It could be girls or elder women, it could be any age of woman. Creating art, and they're sending it to us, and they're also uploading it on the blockchain, on the marketplace that we have built in WinWeb3, and we are able to sell it for them through the blockchain and bring them back 100% of the money back.
Oh, nice.
And we also have artists, and if there's any artist out there who wants to donate, that's amazing. But we have artists who are donating for the cause and uploading their own NFTs and their own art, and we're selling that as well. Everything goes back to the profits. We also have it's also very important for us to keep a sustainable ecosystem with the artists of Web3, so they are also getting something back behalf the donation that they are bringing into the table. We also have a section for women stories, where women can share their stories. They can bring their voice out, their face. They have an opportunity to be heard, where they maybe for years they haven't been heard. You know, we have a lot of women from Rwanda and Nigeria who are living in such poverty, and they're sharing their stories. We have them on videos, some of them just text, but they're all creating art, and they're sharing it and they're selling it. And it's a one safe place for women to educate themselves. We're building now an educational center. We're building fund for girls to be able to support them at school. We have so many things. We want to build a metaverse for the women. That's a future plans. And we have a lot of things happening. We have the Beverly Hills mayor is my partner in this. He's part of that project. We have the city behind us. I have a lot of big names who are collaborating with us, and I'm not going to name drop here, but super.
Oh, you already name dropped, but we know you're amazing. You got to know your Beverly Hills behind you.
Beverly Hills mayor, he's my partner. Is not a name drop. It's a fact.
I know, that's what I'm saying. That's a good thing. Our ecosystem is all about being able to help somebody in need. So I'm glad that you're taking all of your power and giving it back into the universe. It's amazing.
And it's important for me to say that when you have a passion and when you believe in something and you want to do it, pursue it, and especially, helping others. This space enables us to open our hearts and open our pockets and be equal with everyone. Literally, I am able to help a woman that sits in Nigeria that has been through a terrible life, and I'm able to help her. So we are all going to be able to help other people through the blockchain. So let's just do it and not sit on our and not do anything. It's so important.
I'm ready. Well, we are totally out of time here, but thank you so much for coming on our 100th episode. I'm so glad I got to chat with you and celebrate with you. You are doing amazing things, and I love that we got a chance to feature you and your sociallady.com and winweb3.io, all beautiful stuff.
Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure, and I am looking forward for seeing you again.
Absolutely. You guys definitely have to check her out. She's incredible. She's beautiful. She's a mother. She's an entrepreneur. She's a friend. Tal Navarro. Definitely check her out. That was our Hello Open Metaverse segment brought to you by Animoca Brands. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeart Radio. We'll be right back after this.
Hi, this is Kathy Ireland here on A Moment of Zen, brought to you by Your Home TV. We've developed an all-inclusive subscription-free network that you're going to love, whether it's financial freedom, fashion, beauty, health and wellness, wonderful weddings, travel and culture, cooking, entertainment, and short-form documentaries, programming for everyone. Classic films and new shows, including Kathy Ireland Presents American Dreams. We've developed this network just for you. Please check out yourhometv.com.
Welcome back, beautiful tri-state area. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeart Radio. Welcome back to our 100th episode, 2 years on the air and going strong. Today in our Millennial Mom segment, brought to you by Navi Travel, we're chatting with the amazing Carmelia Ray, celebrity matchmaker and life coach. Today we're chatting about the recent headliner in the New York Times, "I love you, but I don't want to sleep with you." Now, according to this article, snoring and conflicting schedules are top reasons couples decide to sleep in separate bedrooms. But sex therapists and marriage counselors have their doubts about the arrangement. According to recent studies, sleeping apart is more common than one might think. 1 in 5 couples sleep in separate bedrooms, and almost 2/3 of those who do so every night, according to a January survey of 2,200 Americans conducted by the International Housewares Association, and this was for the New York Times. Now, interior designers are literally reconfiguring homes to transform separate bedrooms into adjoining ones, an arrangement that more couples are demanding. In fact, there has been an uptick in requests from couples that sleep apart and want to make a secondary room feel as thoughtfully decorated as their primary one. Here to give us her opinion on all of this is the amazing Carmelia Ray. Welcome to the show, my friend.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. So happy to be having this discussion.
Yeah, okay, so you're the expert. What do you say to this?
I say whatever works for the couples. I think that sleep is such an important part of our daily lives. It affects our mood, it affects our work, it affects our health. So when you have a bad sleep, it's prone that you're going to probably have a bad relationship because you're cranky. And there's no judgment on my part. I think people have to let go of what other people think about where people should sleep. It has to be something that works for the couple and for that family.
I couldn't agree more. I mean, listen, maybe these couples have found the secret to domestic bliss, you know? I mean, having a room of your own, that's next level, and everyone does get a better night's sleep. You know, if you really think of the issues in the bedroom at night, I've been married for 16 years and we sleep separately most of the times. 3 to 4 nights he'll come in the middle of the night, but forget it. I'm mommy shamed. I also co-sleep. I have a 7-year-old daughter sleeping in my bed with us, and it works, you know? But if partners are sensitive sleepers, incessant snoring or blanket stealers or obsession to late night social media scrolling, I mean, these are reasons to go get your own bedroom.
Absolutely. You hear about people fighting over the covers and even the temperature control. I know that, I like it really warm and my partner likes it really cold. So how do you compromise? A happy medium is having that separate bedroom. And by the way, it makes like date night even more fun. I read in one of the articles that they use weekends as sleepover time. The other part of that is that there's some people that work crazy schedules. So the 24-hour shift, entrepreneurial life, people who travel, you don't want to be waking up your partner by crawling into bed at 3 in the morning or vice versa. So I think it's really a great idea for people to choose to sleep in separate bedrooms.
Yeah, I agree. I couldn't agree more. And it's not a millennial or, a Gen Z or a Gen Alpha or baby boomer thing. This is reality. But according to this New York Times article, Carmelia, sex therapists and marriage counselors have their doubts, worrying about the motivation behind the decision to sleep separately. They're asking, is it really because the partner tosses and turns too much? Or is that an excuse to avoid talking about bigger problems at home or a non-confrontational way to escape? What do you say to this?
I think that for this particular article, the discussion is about couples choosing to sleep separately because it will actually strengthen their relationship. It is not about somebody choosing another bedroom because they're having difficulty or challenges. If somebody's going to use the excuse of sleeping in a separate bedroom because they're having issues, I think that's a completely separate discussion. It's something that you want to talk about. And also, it's something that people do for years. If all of a sudden you talk about your partner starts to move in another bedroom, I think you would want to raise questions about that. Is there a reason that that's happening? It's sort of uncharacteristic behavior. But for people who understand, hey, honey, I think to strengthen our relationship, we really need to consider sleeping in separate rooms, and that the conversation is around bonding and doing things that will support each other's, healthy lifestyle versus, trying to sneak off into another bed.
I know, I feel the same way.
Yeah.
Exactly. I echo your sentiments. Now, this statement in the article irked me the most. Okay. I'm going to paraphrase a little bit. So they said, few metaphors better convey a relationship on the rocks than a couple sleeping apart. The ultimate ode to marital discord opens with a philandering spouse cast on a couch, the defining symbol of an unhappy family. While the aristocracy has long kept separate boudoirs, the article goes on to say, often portrayed alone in their grand private bedchambers on shows like The Crown and Downton Abbey, they are also a class that tends to marry for money or title, not love. Couples who marry for love doubled up. Now, even Lucy and Ricky Ricardo shared a room on I Love Lucy, despite their famous twin beds. Take away the guaranteed together time, not to mention the easy opportunity for sex found at the end of each day curled up in bed together, and lovers could morph into glorified roommates. What do you say to this narrative?
I think that that's a very opinionated statement, and that this person is not considering all of the facts. It's a strong opinion based on traditional, marriage and traditional expectation that couples sleep together. What's traditional these days? You have to do what works for you as a couple. There's some people that live in separate houses. Let's have that discussion. At least they're in the same house in separate bedrooms, and sexy time is a little bit more fun. I think you miss that person, but you also can honor your space. When couples choose to sleep apart, it literally has to do with the quality of sleep. It is not, and maybe some space. And think about it. Some couples chose to do this in the pandemic. Gosh, we're living together, we're sleeping together, we're eating together, we're stuck in a small box or a small house. Let's at least have separate rooms so we have some element of privacy. I think for couples that choose to sleep apart, don't be shamed by it. It's okay. You don't have to explain anything. If it works for you in your marriage, then that's all that really matters.
Yeah. I mean, listen, this article got a lot of mixed reviews, which is why I wanted your opinion, because look, you're preaching to the choir. My husband and I have been happily married for, 15, 16 years. We share one biological child together. I've raised his other two children. We're a happy family. Most of the nights he's on the couch, and we have a really big king bed. My daughter comes in and sleeps. We find time for each other. Now, Dr. Cheryl Fraser is a clinical psychologist, sex therapist, and the author of Buddha's Bedroom. And in her surveys of 3,000 couples in long-term relationships, Dr. Fraser has found that roughly 33 to 40% report that they are in a sexless relationship, clinically defined as having sex together no more than 6 times a year. Now, she says, take away the snuggle time that happens in a shared bed, and the sex might soon go too. And when you sleep in the same bed, sex naturally happens, she said. She goes on to say that we marry for love, and therefore we want to be in the same bed and have sex with each other. Now, I disagree. I put sex on the calendar, like literally, I put it on the calendar. What do you say to this?
I say sex can happen in the bathroom, in the kitchen, in the living room, on the dining room table. I don't think a bed has anything to do with it. Sex can happen in your backyard. Like you're talking to the wrong person. It's intentional. And if couples choose to have sex 6 times a year and that satisfies their physical need, that works for them. I think there's too many people, interfering with how things should go. Like there isn't a one size fits all to any marriage. And the fact that being together in bed is where sex happens, nah, that's maybe for 80-year-olds. It can happen anywhere, anytime.
I'm glad.
I don't know how old she is, but she clearly isn't having enough sex.
Oh my goodness. I'm so glad you said this, not me. And that's why I called you to comment on this, because I was reading this and I was like, wait, who wrote this? Now, in fact, you're right. According to International Housewares Association, we talked about this in the intro. It's a trade organization. 31% of surveyed couples who said they sleep apart reported that the arrangement had no impact on their relationship, and 21% said that their relationship improved because of it. So you are 100% right. And I agree. Sometimes people just need a little bit of space, no matter how big your apartment is. It's never big enough. I mean, to your point, the pandemic has changed how couples interact, particularly as we all settled into, years of hybrid work arrangements, spending far more time together than I ever cared for in the past. I mean, it's all about what works for each other. Now I have this great big house. He has his office. I have my office. We have a lot of square footage that separates us throughout the day, and we're not in each other's face, and it works.
Zen, all I'm thinking about are all the different places a couple can have sex: the garage, the cars, the motorcycle. Like, come on now. the kids' bedroom when they're not there. I mean,
oh, that's a dirty one, Carmelia. The kids' bedroom when they're not there. Oh boy, I love you. I love you for your honesty.
I'm telling the truth.
So, well, we have about 2 minutes left. So talk to me in general. What advice do you have? I mean, we're going into this, into a new digital space and time. People are looking at avatars. People are interacting with artificial intelligence. I mean, Microsoft's chat box is having emotional conversations with people. What's happening?
We're overstimulated. We're looking for things new. I think that the best way to connect with your partner is to really connect with your partner. And if it means that sleeping in separate bedrooms allows you to appreciate the time that you do have intimacy, where you put the phone away, where you don't use ChatGPT to figure out what to say to your wife or your husband, connect with them. Right? Connect with your partner, do what works for you, and don't worry about the judgment. I think this is bringing a lot of attention, because there's those that are righteous and they know better. You don't know a person's unique situation, and the only people that knows what's right for their marriage are the two people involved, provided that it really does work for both people and that they're open, honest, and transparent. Do people sleep in separate beds because things don't work out or they're hiding things? Of course, but that's not the conversation that we're having here, right? More and more people are choosing to do what works for them.
I agree. Well, listen, it was such an enlightening conversation. Thank you so much for bringing so much spice to our 100th episode. You are amazing. We love having you on, even on a last minute notice like tonight.
Thank you. Well, we'll think of 100 ways to have sex in the next episode.
I can't stop thinking about this. Well, that was Carmelia Ray, guys. You definitely have to check her out on CarmeliaRay.com. Head directly to Instagram as well. She trends extremely well at Carmelia Ray. She's also on Clubhouse. Fantastic stuff. Celebrity matchmaker, life coach, all of the above. According to her, don't listen to what that article said. You can have sex everywhere but the bedroom. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeart Radio. We'll be right back after this.
Hi, this is Kathy Ireland here on A Moment of Zen, brought to you by Your Home TV. We've developed an all-inclusive subscription-free network that you're going to love, whether it's financial freedom, fashion, beauty, health and wellness, wonderful weddings, travel and culture, cooking, entertainment, and short-form documentaries, programming for everyone. Classic films and new shows, including Kathy Ireland Presents American Dreams. We've developed this network just for you. Please check out yourhometv.com.
Well, that's a wrap, my dear friends. Remember to join me right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, every Saturday night from 9 to 10 p.m. Eastern. Or you could head to 710WOR.iHeart.com/A Moment of Zen. Also remember that we're now live on Traverse TV Sundays at 1 p.m. We're on YouTube Sundays at 2 p.m. Eastern. And of course, all episodes of A Moment of Zen are now available on Kathy Ireland's Your Home TV streaming platform. So definitely check out our channel there. You could head to mox.yourhometv.com. Thank you for listening to us. It's been an absolute pleasure being your host. Thanks again to all of our sponsors that continue to make this show possible. And remember, happiness is the only thing that multiplies when you share it.